Hi guys! We are back for our second storytime video. We loved the first one. It was really fun to make. And you guys were so nice and just kind, and your comments were really encouraging.
They were. We loved it. We loved reading through them and reading what you guys had to say.
Definitely. It's so awesome to be able to share our story with you guys and to get such a great response. So thank you again. This is probably one of the things that we've been the most excited about doing on our channel. So we really appreciate you guys. We kind of left everybody on ice.
Like a cliffhanger.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So this is kind of gonna be the aftermath of our first kiss.
Basically.
Our first time.
Things get complicated.
They get very complicated, mostly because of me.
99% because of you.
I think we left it off that we just kissed, right? And
yeah, well, first of all, if you haven't watched our last storytime video, it's the very first one. You gotta make sure you watch that. This will all make a lot more sense if you've tuned in for that story. Basically, we left it off that we had just had our first kiss.
That morning, we're gathering all of our stuff to get on the bus to head home. I'm pretty silent. I don't know that I...
Pretty silent.
Really silent.
I kind of won't say a word.
Yeah, I kind of recluse and just kind of,
wouldn't talk.
I wouldn't talk. I was kind of freaking out. It was kind of like that whole night. It's like the whole I didn't have a filter thing, and then you wake up and you're like, what did I do? Type of a thing. And I obviously knew how I felt. It wasn't that I didn't know how I felt. It was that I was just freaking out. I had just kissed a girl for the first time ever, and it's wrong according to what we've been taught. So I'm just losing it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I just kissed a girl. I like a girl. What am I gonna do?
We pack up all our stuff and we get on the bus to go home, and she is avoiding me like the plague. Like, she won't say a word to me. If I say something to her, it's just very short answers. And then she just like looks away and talks to somebody else. And so I'm like, oh man. Because like, as weird as it sounds, because I was only 14 and this is the first girl that I had ever kissed, had a crush on, anything like that, I was very calm.
You were.
And I was very mature and like okay with the situation. And I don't know how. I think it was just because I liked you so much, so I didn't really care about any of the other stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I was like excited about it. Yes, I was kind of freaking out inside and I was kind of like scared, but I was just like excited, and I liked you so much that I was like, oh, let's keep talking. So when it was like, she didn't even sit in the same seat as me.
I sat across from you.
You sat across from me, and then she wasn't even talking to me. She was like totally going out of her way to be like, no, Satan.
On my end too, I was also like, could not stop staring at you. And like, I wanted to be close to her. I just was like scared because like all the feelings that I were feeling were all new feelings, and I was just scared. And so like, I wanted to be close to her, but I was scared. So I was as close to her as I could possibly be without being too close, I guess you could say. So yeah, that whole bus ride home, and then finally, didn't you text me?
I text you, yeah, and I was just like, is everything okay? Because I didn't know if I did something wrong, or like maybe I was like the worst kisser ever. I didn't know, because it went from like kissing all night and then it was nothing. She acted like she didn't give a crap about who I was. So I sent her a text and I was like, is everything okay? And she said, yeah, I'm just thinking about a lot or something. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, oh crap.
I don't know what happened or what was said or anything, but I finally started talking to you on the bus.
A little bit, and then I remember we probably stopped somewhere to like eat or something, and then because it's such a long bus ride, bus seats aren't comfortable.
No.
I like made a little bed in the aisle and laid down on it.
Super safe.
Super safe. And she came over and like laid like by me. Her head was like, her pillow was like on my stomach, and she was laying by me, and I had a blanket over me, and all of a sudden like you put your hand in to hold my hand because it was like covered and secret. So I was like, what the heck? She goes from
I go from
not
0 to
talking to
100
me
really fast.
Yeah, not talking to me to like secretly coming in to kind of snuggle by me and hold my hand, and I'm just like, I don't know what.
It's funny
she
because
wants.
talking about it and thinking about it, I can go back to that exact moment and it gives me little butterflies right now. It's crazy.
We get home, we go back to school, everything kind of carries on, but not between us really, because like I mentioned in the last one, we both had boyfriends at the time. And like my thinking was we were just gonna go home and break up with our boyfriends and be together. But then it was getting all complicated and we had a talk. Oh, this might have even been on the bus. That's what you said to me.
Is that what I said about the boyfriend?
Yes.
Oh, I hate what I said. I hate it so bad.
When I texted her and asked if she was okay, she said, yeah, I'm just thinking about a lot, blah, blah, blah. So then I'm asking like more questions and she says, she texts me and says,
I hate this.
and this is before she came and like held my hand and stuff. So she texted me and said, yeah, I just think what happened is because we were missing our boyfriends. And it was a dagger. It was the biggest dagger.
That is the lamest excuse
So
though.
lame.
It was just a lame excuse, I think, just to kind of put a
Probably
wall
make you
up.
feel better.
Yeah, to make me feel a little bit better. I knew exactly how I was feeling about you, and I think that's what scared me so bad, was like how strong my feelings were for you. And they were new feelings, you know?
I was like, oh man. Because I thought she meant it. Obviously she said it. And for me, I think it was so hard because that's not how I felt. I wanted to break up with my boyfriend. I was ready to do it like the next day. So to feel like that's how she felt, it was horrible. When we get back home, it's kind of weird because she like still wants to hang out and act like friends, but it's like you're kind of like acting like it never happened.
Yeah, and I was still like, I think I was giving you ride homes from practices, and I tried to, and that's the thing, is I try to do all these things to stay close to you because that's how I was feeling, and so I just wanted to be close to you, but it was also very standoffish at the same time.
Yeah, for example,
oh boy.
one day after practice, she was giving me a ride home, but you had to like, you wanted to say hi to your boyfriend or get something from him. I can't remember what.
I don't remember.
So we pulled up next to where the basketball gym is. He comes out and talks to her and whatever, and she kissed him right in front of me. Right in front of me. And I was just like, take me home.
I'm a terrible person.
And I think like part of you wanted to make me jealous.
Yeah.
Because I remember you like showing me the text that he sent after her and
yeah.
ugh.
I don't know that I was like trying to be rude. I wasn't ever trying to be rude.
I don't think that you were trying to like hurt me.
No.
I think you were trying to make sure my feelings didn't go anywhere. Even if you didn't want to like act on them, I don't think you wanted me to change my mind.
Yeah, and I think that's because I knew how I felt and I knew I wanted to be with you. I just like had so many different feelings going through me at the same time that I just had to sort through them and try to figure it out. That I did end up breaking up with my boyfriend. And that's why, is because one, I didn't give two craps about him. And two, what?
That's sweet.
Yeah. And two, I was, you know, feeling very strongly towards her. Like, she was what was running through my mind all day, every day.
I remember that there was one day that you took me home and things like kind of changed. Like usually we would sit in my driveway and talk, but this talk was like different. Like you kind of addressed the whole situation that happened and
I had a breakthrough.
Yeah, in a sense. So, and I think it was soon after that you broke up with your boyfriend, but yeah, it started to turn into you were taking steps to kind of turn our relationship into something, and then all of a sudden I wasn't, because I think that I was scared because I didn't know what you were doing.
And I probably put that fear in you. I mean, that's my fault.
Then fast forward a little bit. At this point, we are just friends, basically.
Friends with feelings for each other.
Yeah, nobody's doing anything about it, but She had broken up with her boyfriend, and I knew I wanted to break up with my boyfriend regardless of what happened with us, because it just showed me that like I wasn't in that relationship, and it, you know, it was kind of that from the beginning. I was just kind of over it, which happened with most of my boyfriends. I wonder why. And she kept telling me that I needed to break up with my boyfriend, and I knew that it was probably because she wanted me to. But then I was kind of taking on your role. Like, I kind of wanted to see if your feelings were still there, you know? So I told her, it's like, one night I was like, yeah, I'm gonna break up with my boyfriend.
Because he was coming to your house.
Because he was coming to my house. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it tonight. And then I didn't, and just kind of like told her about it so that I could see where she was at, you know? So then I'm texting her like, I didn't break up with him. He's gone, like telling her details, and she gets pissed.
I did. That was the first time I ever got mad at you.
Yeah. She was
but
so mad.
I wasn't like mean. I was upset.
You were just mad.
I was just mad.
Getting mad at me. You're like, why would you tell me you were gonna do it if you're not?
Yeah.
You know you want to.
Oh my gosh, I'm a freak.
She was so mad, and that kind of told me where she was at, and that's what I wanted, and that was the immature 14-year-old way about going about it. But that told me like, she still wants me. Again, the 14-year-old way of doing things, I texted him and broke up with him instead of doing it in person.
Yeah.
So then we both were boyfriendless. It was soon after that we kissed again. So then it was like, okay, now we're on the same page. We obviously like each other a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we broke up with our boyfriends for a reason. Like, let's move forward. From there, you were my girlfriend, and we were just basically dating in secret from everybody, from our parents, because we knew we had to. And that's one thing I do regret looking back at it.
Yeah, I do not condone lying.
Yeah.
I don't condone lying or hiding.
I think that made it really hard for our parents when they found out, was because we lied to them for so long. That is one thing that I do, if anybody's in a situation similar to that, I regret that big time, because I think it made it harder for my parents, because it's like, oh my gosh, like they wouldn't be okay with that whether it was a girl or a boy.
Right.
So
and I do feel bad that I did that to my parents, because like I said, I don't condone lying, and I don't condone disrespecting parents either.
And so their guidelines.
Yeah, but yeah, that first year it was hard, but it was also like
so fun.
So fun.
Yeah.
And just
and it's difficult because we didn't tell a single friend. Literally,
nobody.
We did not tell anybody. We knew about it, and that was it. People speculated, I'm sure, like crazy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But we knew about it, and that was it. We weren't even good at hiding it, but we did manage that for about a year. Like, we would just like make out in my driveway, in your car. Somebody could have easily just walked out.
Yeah.
But whatever. Anyway, so we didn't tell a single one of our friends, and we pretty much had mutual friends at this point. And we didn't tell them. So there's good and bad with that, because we all just got to hang out, and it was fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't weird. I don't know if that would have been the case if they knew, you know, because they'd be like, I don't want to hang out with them, you know.
Yeah.
But then the downside was we didn't have anybody to talk to. We didn't have, you know, when you're so in love, you want to tell people.
Yeah, and we also, I mean, we didn't tell anybody because I think in our heads, which just isn't fair either, is that you don't think anyone's gonna understand. Sorry, our camera died. But, so back to what I was saying was that as for telling friends, you don't think that anyone's going to understand. So you don't even give them the benefit or the chance to understand, which isn't fair on our part, because I think there were friends that would understand, and we just didn't give them that chance to understand.
Right.
So, but it's hard as a 14 and 17-year-old. It's so hard, especially.
It's the scariest thing in the world. I remember, because she went off to college just a little bit after that. And I remember being a sophomore and just seeing you whenever you'd be able to come home on the weekends. She was about 2 hours away. And I remember, I'm sure there were rumors going around like crazy. And I just remember, like, it wasn't even confirmed. It wasn't even like, yes, that's the truth. And people were still rude.
Oh yeah.
Like, I remember I had a pair of your sweats that had your name on the butt. like on the butt cheek.
That's just what we did.
So classy.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was wearing them one day to school, and I remember like people, like a girl making snide comments. Like, so like there was a reason that we were scared. It's the town that we grew up in, and the closed-mindedness, and you know how our families were gonna react and our friends. So while I wish we did things different, we still had legitimate fears.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it wasn't ever people didn't respond nicely to things.
So just to end it, I just want your thoughts, and then I'll give my thoughts. What are your thoughts and your advice to somebody in kind of that situation that we were in? Especially given your struggle with it, how, you know, at first you kind of freaked out because you like didn't feel all that comfortable with it.
Right.
What's your advice to somebody like that, and then somebody in a relationship that's new and scary? And
so my advice is, this is gonna be easier said than done. Don't freak out. Don't freak out. I think my freak out stemmed from what I have been taught my entire life. Of, you know, from the Mormon background of being taught it's wrong and I'm going straight to hell for it. You know, so don't freak out. Know that your feelings are valid. They're very valid feelings. Like, and you're not wrong for having those feelings. So I think if I could give myself advice, that would probably be what it would be. And that your feelings aren't wrong. Like, don't feel like your feelings are wrong, because they're not. And it's okay to feel that way. So just, I think that would be my advice for someone that's feeling that way.
my thoughts, advice, whatever you want to call it, on a situation like ours or similar to ours. I've said before, my biggest regrets with the whole thing was not being honest and being too afraid to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was hard not having a friend to even talk to. If I felt like I had to keep it from my parents, then that was whatever. That's how I felt. I don't know that that would ever change. I think I was too afraid to change that. But I at least wish I would have started with telling like my closest friends to see, you know, to give them, like you said, give them a chance to react. I didn't even give them a chance to be okay with it or not be okay with it. Throughout this whole journey, this 10-year-long journey, especially in the beginning of it, I pushed people away because I didn't want them to reject me, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I didn't want to give them a chance to reject me. So I would pretty much reject them. I'd push them out, so it was like they didn't even get a chance.
Yeah.
So before they knew or when they found out or whatever, I'd be like, forget you. Because I didn't want the sting of that rejection because I'm in a relationship with a girl or because I'm gay or whatever.
Right.
So that's my biggest regret is I don't know what would have happened if I would have just said, you know what, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Even with my parents, like that was a long, long struggle, and we'll get into that more with the story time. But what would have happened?
I don't know, because I am a believer in the whole friend thing when people say like, if say you told them and they reacted badly, are they truly your friend anyways?
Right.
So, I mean, I think if you tell somebody and they react in a poor way or they don't want to be your friend anymore, they weren't your friend for the right reasons to begin with.
That tells you something important anyway.
Yeah.
As hurtful as it is.
Yeah, of course.
You find out something telling anyway about your friendship.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice. A lot of people always are like, I want to tell my best friend, but I don't know if I should. I think you should. I think when you feel really good and strong about it,
Yeah.
you should tell them, because I really regret not telling at least my couple really closest friends who I was, who you were to me. You weren't just my best friend, like.
Yeah.
And then maybe moving forward to my parents so that wasn't such a long, difficult road.
Right.
Hopefully this made sense. I know that this story time video jumped around a lot more than the first one because it didn't follow as close of a timeline,
Yeah.
if that makes
But
sense.
this one kind of falls within the first year of us dating.
Right.
So
After this, we'll get into the heavier stuff, but that's kind of how we got together, and then the more immediate aftermath of all that. So hopefully it was easy to follow along. I know it's gonna jump around a lot, but that's kind of our reactions to the whole situation. You know, it wasn't just easy. It wasn't just like, super, let's be together.
Right.
So that kind of dives more into our feelings at the very, very, very beginning.
Yeah, it was, like she said, it was a fun year. It was a hard year, but it was a really fun first year.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And 10 years later. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this story time, and hopefully you guys will hang around for the rest of them. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. We love you guys. Bye.
Bye.